Okay. It takes a little while to know if it's actually on or not, but I'm going to start. Oh, now we are on. We are live streaming. Woo, woo, woo. And I need to silence that. There we go. Come back to you. Okay. Hello, friends. It is Laura Ward here in a Zoom room with at least one other person, and we are going to do somatic mat today. And the kittens are charging around, so maybe you'll be lucky to see some action. Now, of course, one is very still over there. All right, we're going to do the lymph flush. We're going to do some breathing. We're going to do all the things. And first, we're going to breathe. And I'm going to talk about that conscious, what is it called? Inhale, lift. It's a physiological breath. Inhale, lift, and exhale. And right now, if this isn't physiological breath, don't worry, Linda, it won't record you. It's just set on me. And exhale, down. I checked it. Inhale, open. And exhale. And inhale. So this is really, we're choosing our breath right now, right? We're figuring out how we're going to breathe. Inhale up, exhale, bend your knees, take it all the way down, soften your neck. Inhale, reach it out and up, lift, and exhale, bending, releasing, dropping, and one more. Inhale up, and exhale, drop it down. So something that I've been talking about a lot is the physiological breath, and that is something that happens naturally. We do it about every 5 minutes, and it's a big sort of a double inhale and a sigh exhale. If you look at animals, they do it too. And what that does is it fills up our little alveoli, our little lung sacs that take in the oxygen, which are kind of like wet balloons, and they can get kind of stuck together. So if we don't take that natural breath, the balloons get that natural physiological breath, which is just a bigger inhale, which is like, because if our normal breathing is this, it's not quite enough to reinflate those ones that may have closed down. So this is like bigger, it opens them up. If we aren't doing that on a regular basis, they start to deteriorate. And we want to have really healthy lungs, really healthy alveoli. So we want that natural breath. If we're on our cell phones, if we're looking at a small screen it inhibits that thing. So let's say we're on the cell phone for 20 minutes. Good chance that you didn't take one of those breaths unless you think about it. All right, I think that's such an important factor to think about. So we're going to rub our hands together. I'm taking my right hand up to this left corner above my collarbone. And I learned it from Andrew Huberman. And then I just watched another thing with him and Jack Feldman talking about breath, another podcast. So highly recommend that if you're a physiological neurobiology nerd geek, want to know more about what's going on in your body, check that out. So much great information. And then switch it to the other side, same thing. So I've got my left to my right. And then we're going to do both the ones up here, but just behind the angle of the jaw. And I'm kind of getting all my fingers in there and covering a lot of space. Circling, moving back and forth. You can take it all the way down the edge of your jaw as well. Getting the fascia and the lymph to move around. We're doing this. We're kind of like wringing it out, squeezing it out. It's going to hydrate and encourage movement. If we take it a little bit behind, just to right here at the hairline, and very gently, maybe slow it down, some movement and some massage. Maybe with a sound, we're going to get into the vagus nerve, which is the longest nerve, the wandering nerve, and it goes down and it affects our heartbeat, our digestion, and even our orgasm. So we want that to be happy. Yeah, so bringing that in, that's when we come into the rest and digest, soothe, and settle, when the vagus nerve is bringing us down. That's the digestion, breathing, all the good stuff. And then we're going to come back around the front to K27 points, just a little bit underneath the collarbones. There should be a little indentation there and circling in there. I'm digging in with both sides and feeling into that. And if any of these places on your body are tender, be very gentle in there. You don't need to, this isn't to do some rolfing in there. It's just, I'm going to switch to my other hand and do the same thing. Switching to my other hand is going to be giving me this different right-left contralateral pattern. I'm just crossing midline up here. So anytime I'm crossing midline, I'm getting into that contralateral stuff. Also really good for our nervous system. And all of these systems are working together. Let's do a little thymus thump, maybe some Tarzan. So if you're having like different issues in your body, the vowel sounds you make can vibrate in different places, like a really deep ooh is going to be more down here, whereas like a ah here and an e here, maybe not. Maybe you won't notice that. Maybe you won't feel it. It has been my experience. So getting some some Tarzan in there, and maybe a little bit of Jane too. Just playing with where that stuff. It brings a lot of life into my body. And then we're going to go left hand to right upper pec and deltoid armpit. Yeah, and I'm actually just moving my arm around. I feel like if I am, well, I feel like I can feel it in my body. If my body is moving and I'm grabbing, then I'm really getting some action in that area. Breathing into it. Yummy. Happy body. Actually, that feels really good for me. Other side, same thing. Pec, lat, armpit. Yeah, so we want to find ways of interacting with our own bodies that actually feel good so that I'm not digging in a way that is uncomfortable and I'm in relationship with myself. I can feel exactly how I'm touching myself and I can adjust accordingly. So work with what feels good in your body. Got the backlight going on. And then let's just do a bounce and shake. Inviting our bodies to come towards health. Inviting our systems to integrate and become more coherent. Let's take a breath for that. Inhale up. I've got this beautiful, you can't see it, I'm grabbing it, but there's this, not beautiful, this lighting fixture that is right there in my hand grab location. All right, shake that out, and we're coming into, I want to do this. I'm going to show you where, right underneath your ribs, you're going to get up there, xiphoid process, and just take your fingers in and lightly pull out along the edge of your ribs. This is going to move the diaphragm and hopefully your diaphragm and your organs, just giving them a little bit more space. So your liver is in there, and the liver is really big. So we want to just give a little love to the liver. I'm doing it 3 or 4 times, pulling through. This actually is a connective tissue therapy stroke, and the idea is that you kind of hook in with your fingers and then pull down and out. So I'm not pushing into my body, I'm pulling out. Same thing. You can do it one at a time. You can do it on both sides at the same time, whatever works for you. Yeah, getting some space in the front of the body and our diaphragm. So we can do it in the back too. So grabbing around the back, and I'm going to kind of come in, feeling around for the bottom of my rib cage, and just pulling out and opening up, widening through there. Doing it a couple of times. So as I'm pulling through, like I'm pulling fascia, but coming through the fascia is my lymphatic system, and that is closely connected to the vascular system. So we've got all of the stuff, we're affecting it all as we do these strokes. And then now we're going to get into the sternochyli. So right there in the middle, my belly button a few inches up below my xiphoid process and digging in there. Cover myself back up. I get some modesty around here. Breathing into that. So this is sternochyli is like the biggest one, biggest lymph node in our body. And actually this one empties up into the right side of our body, but our left side of our body does like 3/4 of our body. So that's why we start on the left, because it's going to be draining more fluid than the right. But the right does this is sternochyli, so that's a big chunk that goes up in there. Then we're going to go down into inguinal fold, getting in there. You can bend and straighten, feeling into what your tissue feels like. I can feel it feels very different on different days. And then we're going to come up over the top. I'm just going to tuck this in. And I'm just, let's see, let's come up over into here's my sacrum, sacroiliac. Just going to give that some movement and some love on the way out. So again, getting into the fascia. We're going to get moving on the ground and exercising more, but first we're just giving ourselves a little bit of a release. So I'm kind of like knuckling in there and making circles. And then I'm going to come up over the top of my iliac crest with my thumbs, and I'm going to pull out and around to the front. So this is another connective tissue connective tissue stretch. So thumbs in, stretch, connective tissue stroke. And I'm bringing it all the way around, up over the front into here. So I'm taking that fascia, lots of nerves are coming out down there, and I'm just giving it a little spread, combing through it. And I'm going to go a little lower than the edge of my hip. So all of this across here, just giving it a little pull. And then shake it out. Ooh, hello, showing the whale tail, taking it down to the back of my knees. Normally, I'm a granny panty person. And I have to say, it's so funny. I have so many friends. I have my big, like, white cotton granny panties on, and I have friends like, "Oh, wow, I really like those underwear. Where'd you get them?" Girlfriends, like at the gym. Like, oh yeah, going for the comfort most of the time. All right, let's shake that all out. Okay, a little bounce around. Maybe a little stepping into the floor, just waking up your feet, soles of your feet, and then we're going to take it down, all the way down to the floor. And sitting in a cross-legged position, easy circles with your torso over your pelvis. So I'm feeling my sit bones connecting to the ground. As I'm circling around, they're changing. And what I'm allowing is these big basins of my pelvis, my rib cage and lungs, and my head to have this moving relationship. So everything's moving a little bit. And I'm just going to tell my nervous system, it's okay. Yum. Make it smaller if you need to, make it bigger if you need to, change direction. Again, we're mobilizing the diaphragm on top of the organs here, so it's not all getting gummed up. Here comes Princess Peapod. My nervous kitty. She's not that nervous, but she's a little nervous. All right, and then let's open the arms outside side, stretching to one side and up and over to the other side. Inhale, open. Exhale. Thinking of your arms like a weeping willow. Opening it up. I don't know. I feel like organic imagery is always really nice to use when we're thinking of our bodies. So like as my arm goes over the top, it can kind of relax into that weeping willow. And then we're going to change it slightly. You're going to take it to the side and just take it down over your knee. Breathing into that. Feeling that diagonal pattern through your body. Taking it slowly into center, softening down, relax your neck, relax your head, breathe, surrender. Take it to the other knee. Breathing into it. And then side stretch on that side. And inhale, blossom open. And we're going to change legs. Just going the other way with the other leg in front. Sideways, taking your time. We missed you at the party yesterday, Linda. We had the SoMATic Dances for Peace, and it was like a mother-daughter class. Georgina had her mom on FaceTime. Take it down. Her mom was on FaceTime. We were on Zoom. Every once in a while, she'd hold up the phone so we could see her mom in different sombreros and hats. Everyone was playing dress up. My mom was here, and she was sometimes in the kitchen on her computer and sometimes in the room with me. And then we had Kelly and her kids, and her husband. So it was like, and a dog. And they have like a little sort of dance studio area. And everyone was changing costumes regularly. And then we had one of my mom's friends from growing up, and then side stretch. So it was like the total like family affair. And then a few other people. Cassie was there with Blake, but we didn't get to see him much. So it was like mothers and children and partners and all the stuff. All right, coming up, let's go back of the hands towards each other, halfway down, and inhale. Fill up your lungs. If this hurts at all, you can also make it much smaller, right? You can always take it into something where you're still getting the movement of the spine, but it's not quite so much. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. So the Somatic Dances for Peace is on Fridays. It is a free class for whoever wants to show up. Inhale, open. It's going back to 4:15 next week. Inhale, open, exhale, inhale, exhale. So I'm really thinking about my arms and my fingertips connecting into my ribs and lungs. So as I'm moving my hands around, moving my arms around, I'm getting this extra movement all the way down into my lungs. And you can take it further back. Normally I want you to stay here, but let's take it a little further back. And just do that. Open, taking it back, and exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Thinking of the arms connecting all the way into your lungs. They are. And down. And last one, inhale, open. And let's take it all the way down to the floor. Now this is not as creaky a floor as as the living room, I think. Let's see how this goes. We're going to, let's just take it up. Once you get there, easy circles. If you want to put a block between your knees, you can. You don't have to. I'm gonna go block free for right now. Circling, warming up the back, the glutes, the hamstrings, and getting that movement in the whole torso. Again, moving the organs around, change direction. The happy organs have sliding surfaces against the organs around them, so they're not all gummed up. Like there are places where they're, connected to things, where they're anchoring to bone or to other body parts, but mostly they should have a lot of sliding surfaces. So thinking of that like a whole bunch of balloons and they're just sliding around. Wet, full water balloons sliding around. Of course, nothing is really shaped like that in there, but that's close enough. All right, we're going to take the arms up over your head, and then on the exhale, press up. Inhale down. If you want to make this a little bit more exciting, you can keep changing the palm relationship. So palms to palms, and then palms up. And this is going to just work into your rotator cuff a little, and then you're going to spiral them all the way out. So we're getting, again, that tissue from the hands through the arms into the heart and lungs, into the lungs and heart, having a little more differentiation. We are very three-dimensional. And if you think of it all the way down to like our DNA is a spiral, and our bodies are really curvilinear. So there's a lot of, and rounded and archy. So there's a lot of like curvy round shape inside our bodies. Let's take our knees in and just roll from side to side, massaging out your back. So Georgina and I were out hiking, and we found a very clean skeleton. Must be a deer. And I brought back some. We both took a few ribs and a few vertebrae. There wasn't much there, but there was pretty much a spine and some ribs. And it was so, I mean, like, so bleached and weathered. Open it up, that it, like, there was not a speck of anything left but very old, dry bones. I know everyone wants to hear this, but anatomy is my special interest. So just looking at like the shapeliness of our bones, or animal bones. No straight lines in the body. Everything is curved and arced. Yeah, coming back to that idea of the spiral. Let's take the arms and legs up and just circle your feet and your wrists. Easy circles. changing directions. Hello, legs. You can straighten your knees or not, really. Oh, and I see some dirt from my walk. Shake it all out. Shake, 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 let it go. Breathe easy and loose. Ha, and come down. And let's go back up with this. So I'm going to go kind of more extreme. You may want to make this a little bit easier. So I'm going to go up. I'm going to take my bottom arm underneath, and I'm going to push into this side curve. And then I'm going to come back down to the floor. Going up, bottom arm underneath, push, and then just coming back in. Alternate version of this is going to be just leg down, small lift, come down. That's one alternate version, very small. Or go up, lower, lift, come down. Up, lower, lift, and come down. If you're having any kind of back pain, just really listen in. Take it easy. Don't poke the bear. So I'm going up, doing the big one. Over, if I want, I could really reach out, play around with that, and then I'm just going to melt myself back into the floor. Press it up, take it under, lift and open, melting back in. I'm going to try it with coming up at the end. So going up, bringing it under, reach it out. Yeah, this is going to be harder, coming back up and then lower down. Up, under, reach it out, bring it back up, and come down. One more time, each side, up and over, working with what feels like you need it in your body right now, or what feels right to you in your body right now. Up, bring it in, and take it down. And then let's just shake it all out. Let all of the fluid in your hands and feet kind of come back into center. Yeah, so when we're standing and we're vertical, like things pool down more. This is partly how our fascia creates its shape, using gravity and the fluids in our body to like decide what needs to happen with it. This is one reason why the urban rebounding and jumping stuff is really great, because not only does it get your lymphatic system going, it's also, making your fascia do this rebound, which is really healthy for it. So, yeah, if you can get on a trampoline, go for it. Hands down by your sides, big circles, and it's also fun. Georgina has a trampoline in her backyard, so we were jumping on that trampoline for a little while. I was over there on Tuesday, and I have to say, it's so fun. It just is fun. You just have to let it go. Like, just let go whatever you think you're supposed to do, and jump around. Actually, and by let go of whatever you think you're supposed to do, I mean as being a human. Like, let go of, just drop all the facades and bounce around, let it go, let it all go. And when you're doing that jumping, like, there's so much extra resilience going on in your tissues. Let's take a big happy baby, wiggle around, stretch out the baby, let the baby be happy and playful. Mm. And then let's go with one leg at a time, one in and one out, really more traditional Pilates type exercise. Just stretching one in, reaching the other one out, feeling the two legs working away from each other. You can do this also with your head on the floor. And I like to go back and forth. Like, I like to do some of them with my head up, and then some of them with my head down. And one thing that I'm paying attention to here is I'm paying attention to what's my pelvis doing. Like, is it really curling up here, or can I kind of lengthen it down? Like, those are going to be two very different things. You can see I'm doing it now. So here I'm lengthening it down, and here I'm kind of curled. Just play into that and feel what the difference is. If your back is hurting, you may not want to play with that. But it may be that, oh, when it's lengthened, it feels better. Or when it's curled up, it feels better. So listening in. back and forth. Last one. Drop it down, free up your spine. Really free flow out in the spine. Let your belly stick out. Yeah, actually, let's just take our hands on our bellies and soften it, move it around. So sometimes also, like when we're having back pain, it can be because there's a lot of holding in the front, right? The tissue in the front is clenching too much. So we want to let that release also. I have friends who are like, oh yeah, my back was hurting and then I just started engaging my abs more and then it stopped hurting. And okay, that could help. I feel like a lot of it's awareness. Like we need to bring our awareness into the area, give it some movement. So I'm just kind of grabbing and pulling in on each side. So grabbing, giving it a little pull, and trying to relax my muscles as much as possible. And then I'm going to pull from the inside to the outside, and I'm going to let my body free up as I'm doing that. So I'm finding my midline, I'm pulling to one side, then to the other. There is a whole bunch of visceral massage and visceral work that people do, but we can also like become more familiar with our own viscera and just give it some movement. You don't need to know what everything is. Just feel into it and be like, oh, if it feels tender and weird, be gentle. But if that tenderness is in there, that could be, there's some tightness or something kind of stuck. Okay, let's take our hands behind our head, elbow to knee, crossing over, going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and relax it down. Turn your head from side to side, soften your spine, free it up. Relax your neck and jaw. Relax your tongue. So that's another thing. We can think of what's happening up here. Neck, jaw, tongue. Can we make that softer and easier? Neck, jaw, tongue, all the way into our brains, right? Our eyes. Oh, yes. Our eyes are the only part of our brain that is outside of our cranium. Can we just soften them in a little bit? So go ahead and give yourself a little massage. Take the 10 little dragons on a run through the forest. Let your face soften. Shake it out. And let's roll over. Let's come onto our sides. And I'm going to take my head in my hand, my legs straight down below me. I'm going to turn out my legs and I'm just going to go up, in, rotate out, slide it down. Very ballet. Up, passe, turn in, turn out, slide it down. Up, passe, in, out, slide down, up, passe, in, out, slide down, up, passe, in, out, slide down. My foot is starting to cramp. Up because I had coffee. In, out, slide down. I do try to have water first and not have my coffee until I've gone out and taken the walk. So I have to say, like that Huberman podcast, I've taken a lot of his advice in and do a lot of that stuff. Tap it out, let it go. Let's take the knees together. This can be sort of a Z fold, and just rotate in. Rotate in, let that soften. You can even take your hand and help that tissue become more spacious. This is, since we did all of that turned out stuff, we want to let the tissue do the opposite now. Just a few more of those. Encouraging any inflammation in the area to just reabsorb. Good, and let's go for a quad stretch from there. Taking it back, heel into your butt. Knee going back. From there, you can move your leg a little bit if you want. Letting the femur head right up there in that ball and socket joint rotate in and out. Yeah, so I am now at 3 full months of doing the walk every morning. Rain, shine, ice storm, everything. I feel like it has changed my relationship with the outside. And I definitely wake up earlier naturally. Let it go. So my circadian rhythm seems to be in good form. Let's do that. Let's just roll back and forth a few times. Let it massage through your back, letting your body readjust and really feel the difference between that side you just worked and the side that's on the bottom. Just feeling the difference in sort of aliveness in the tissue. And then we're going to roll it around to the other side. And then I'm going to have a sip of my coffee in my weird ball glass. Oh, but as one thing I'll say about this, about doing the walks, is that I actually have lost weight and I wasn't trying to lose weight. So yeah, and the rule is get out and go, even if you just go up the hill and come back. So I don't have to take like a 5 mile hike. I just can go outside for 10 minutes, but usually I end up being out for about half an hour to 40 minutes. Let's go up, in, rotate out, slide it down, up, in, turn it out, slide it down. I'm going to flex some of the time just to relax my foot. In, slide it down, up, passe, in, out, 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 slide it down. I didn't lose a lot of weight. I lost like maybe 3 pounds. But when you're kind of thin anyway, 3 pounds makes a difference. Like this is a difference from me wearing pants that I actually haven't worn for many years. And I'm like, oh, these things fit again. All right, bring it in and internally rotate and come up. Getting that tissue, you can use your hands to really come around, thinking of wrapping it in so that we're not just overworking the external rotators and not bringing it back. That feels really good to me. And then relax it, quad stretch. I also feel like with weight loss in my body, anytime that I lose weight, it's when I'm actually really not trying to lose weight, which is most of my life. But it's always like, oh, and it just sort of happens. Or even sometimes when I really don't want to lose weight, then I lose weight. So it's like, it's so psychological, I feel like, in addition to what's going on physiologically. And then release and take it back and shake it out. And let's flip onto our bellies. Just readjust my mat. And I know I'm going over these two different carpets, which is, and of course, in this weird diagonal. Art. It's all art. Coming onto our bellies. Bend your knees and let your legs fall from side to side. Easy and loose. You can think of actually sticking out your butt. And we're going to do something a little bit different that I haven't done in a long time. And you'll just see how it goes for you. If it doesn't feel good, you can just ease back on it. But it's a little bit of a twist. I'm going to take my arms out to the sides. I'm going to pick up my leg. I'm just going to reach across my body. And then I'm going to bring it back and come in. I'm going to lengthen out my leg, reach across. Spiraling and bringing it back. Reaching into the back space, adding that spiral. Then I'm going to do it with a bent knee. So I'm going to pick up and reach and open. Bending up. One more time each side. So this is also giving me a great stretch on my deltoid on the side that I'm rolling onto. So this is opening this up. And then come in, arch up, take it into a child's pose, and let go. Just soften in, surrender, wiggle around. Gentle and easy. And then shift your weight back towards your heels and come up. Yeah, so I think with movement, like we need a lot of variety and we need to move often. It doesn't mean that we need to move with high intensity all the time. In fact, we don't need to move with high intensity all the time. And as we get older, we just want to be careful about how we warm up for that high intensity and also how we recover from it. So if I'm doing some really intense stuff, like if I'm doing pole classes and doing a lot of, if I have the pole to myself for a full hour and a half, that's a lot of work. And sometimes when it's over, I'm like, I can be so exhausted that I almost feel like I'm sick. So then I need to really just chill out and do nothing for a while to recover. It depends a lot on your age with this. So as we get older, we need more recuperation time. We need more recovery and also eating healthy so that as I'm trying to recover, I'm giving myself what I need. Let's take it into a forearm plank and bend one knee to the floor at a time. Going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Cross it under, twist 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Bring it back in. Let's go knee to shoulder on the outside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And take it down and relax and melt. Wiggle, child's pose if you need it. If you're good, curl your toes under and just push up and down. Melt and soften. Although sometimes for me, my recovery requires a lot of micro movement. Like if I've done a ton of stuff, I might want to just come in, maybe get on the foam roller or not, and just let my body reabsorb stuff, process. Like sometimes processing in really small little movement is very helpful as opposed to just that kind of recovery. But it might be also do nothing recovery. I tend to feel better when I move a little bit all the time. Okay, let's do one more thing here. You're going to go up, you're going to just take it forward and back. And then relax and come down. Wiggle it out, soften the tissue, get easy and loose. And let's go with opposite arm to leg. Inhale up, exhale down. So we're coming back to that contralateral pattern. Cross body movement is what human bodies were made to do in locomotion. As we walk or run, we use this contralateral pattern. And it sort of works as a reset of our nervous system because we're getting that extra spirally movement through our body, through our tissue. Relax for a second, curl your toes under, breathe. You can wiggle around, free up your body, soften your tissue, let it go. And let's go one more time. If your back is hurting, keep it small and just go up off the floor a little bit. If you're feeling good, paddling away. Let's do a pumping breath if you're feeling good. Deep diaphragmatic breathing. Inhale the whole thing up. You can open it up like you're flying in a cloud, as one does. And then take your hands next to your chest. Open, open, open. Up and down a couple of times. Using your eyes to initiate the movement. And then your pelvis to come back down. So the initiation, you can think eyes and nose lifting, slicing up through the air, and then pelvis dropping, and it rolls back down. If it feels good, go for the bent knees. Couple more times. And take it back. And wiggle around. And then roll it up through your spine, coming all the way up to the top. And just checking the time. Oops. I just got a message that somebody wanted to join late. Oops. I just don't usually look at my phone once I get going, and I have everything silenced. Sorry, Susan. I'll send you the link of what happened. Opposite arm to leg. Let's go out, in, out, and then change. Here's that contralateral pattern. In, out, change, out, in, out, change, out, in, out, change, out. She might have even come in and I just didn't see her in the waiting room. Out, in, out, change, out, in, out, change, out, in, out, change, out, in, out. If you are watching the replay, Susan, say hey to your fluffy little Sky for me. Out and in. That sounds really weird. Sky is a little poodle. He's really cute. And come down. All right. And he's the softest little dog. All right, let's do this rolling from one side to the other, massaging out your butt. Just easy, getting in to the tissue. One thing you can also do is come onto your side and then kind of rock. This is going to give more shear force so that the movement of the tissue is like that. So you can try that as well, like kind of moving around so that the whole, it's not a plate, but the whole sort of chunk of glute has this different relationship, not just rolling across it, but mobilizing into it. Try it on the other side. Yeah, like I can move my body so that I'm moving that tissue in a very different way than just rolling across it. I can go up and down. I can go side to side. I can take diagonals, do free-form shapes. And then come up, taking your hands and just curl. Surrender. Breathe. And then we'll go with the full spiral, taking it down to the floor, surrender. You can do the big rainbow arms if you feel like it. Opening up or not. And then we're going to finish it off with some hip stretches. So I'm going to do it seated. You can always do this laying down on your back. So I'll just show you what if it was laying down, I'd be like this, or I could just grab one, but I'm going to do it seated here. Knee over knee. We're trying to line them up. If you're more open, you can bring your legs more forward. My hips are very tight. And so I'm going to sit down, try and get both butt cheeks on the floor, circling around, easy circles. At the same time, relaxing this whole neck, jaw, tongue, throat. Relaxing my ribs, letting it be fluid so that there's movement backwards and forwards in my sternum. So it's getting a little bit of opening and closing with the circle. Change direction. Bringing yourself back into yourself. Whenever we cross the body like this, we bring ourselves back in. So it's a great way, if you need to call your energy back to yourself, this is a great way to do it. Yeah, if you feel like too many threads, too many radiations out into the world, bring it in. Self-care pose in Embodied Yoga Principles is this. Not necessarily the legs, but the more we cross over and enclose, the more we can come into ourselves. Taking it down. You can wiggle around if that feels good. And when I'm teaching classes, like if I'm in a room with a bunch of people, when we come into this, I can see everyone just come into themselves and I feel it myself. Different positions give us different sort of mind states. And then coming up, opening the arms, stretching toward the top leg. You can kind of open and close the ribs if that feels good. And then up and over to the other side. And then coming up, spiraling, twist. And the other way. And unscramble. And just let your legs come out. Bang them up and down, rotating up. So I'm wearing this pair of, they're actually Lululemon. My niece works there, and my mom just came back from Vancouver, so she brought me these from my niece. Thank you, Indigo. And I can feel how much they are affecting my tissue underneath. So I want to say it's great for some of the day, but you really want to let your skin and your tissue not be contained for most of your day so that A, your skin can breathe, but also like the whole idea of Spanx and stuff like that that are holding you together. What's happening is it's doing the work that your fascia should be doing. So if things are kind of tight, it's going to it's not a great thing for your fascia for the long term. Good, fine for short periods of time, but maybe not like all day stuff. All right, switch it to the other leg on top. Bring it in. Don't get me wrong, I love these tights. They're really soft, they feel great, but I can feel how much they're affecting what's happening underneath or isn't happening underneath. Circles. And when you're ready, change direction. Bring it into yourself if you need to. I think we all need to, right? We all need some outness and we need some inness. And there's certainly a lot of people who are very out who could definitely, it would benefit all of us if they came in a little bit more. Some of the alpha types. Bring it in, honey. Just take it into yourself and let's have some space here. Okay, let's take that into the forward and softening and melting. Let's also say the authoritarian types that are radiating their will out onto other people too much. Bring it into yourself. See how you like it. And then come up, open it out, stretching toward the top leg. And then taking it to the other side, same thing. Give yourself some freedom if you need it in your body. Freedom inside through movement. And then spiraling toward the top leg. And then the other way. Bring it in and unscramble. Bang it out. Yeah, this is where I feel it, like where the tissue really should have some freedom because I got these leggings on. It's like, oh, this is different. Rotate in and out. Slide your heels underneath, taking your knees forward and taking your heels back, if that feels okay. So I'm going all the way to touch the floor, but if you can't, don't worry about it. And I'm letting my hands move whenever they need to in this forward backward squat. If your knees are okay and it feels okay, just let yourself hang here for a couple of breaths. Feeling the rise and fall of your breath so that your whole body is growing and shrinking with the breath. Inviting the relaxation into your body as you exhale. letting go. And then slowly heels towards the floor, butt towards the ceiling. Let's walk the feet wider and just shift from side to side. Let it go. Slow, gentle, and easy. And come into center and roll it all the way up, coming up to the top. Inhale, there's the lighting fixture that I was talking about that I get to grab onto. Inhale, open. Let's just give a gentle, easy shake. Letting go of anything you need to let go of. Inhale, open. Shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. Inhale, open. Let it go, let it go, let it go. All right, my people in TV land, let me just offer this to you. You could also subscribe and like. And if you've made it this far through the content, you might want to consider becoming a supporter through my Patreon or through a one-time donation on PayPal.